All right, I'm going to take you through a band-only at-home workout. So this is great for the majority of us who probably have a set of these bands laying around. Maybe back in the day you did P90X, maybe that's how you first got into fitness, but the likelihood of you having a set of bands at home is pretty high, and if not, they're a cheap investment, typically $20 to $30, although I think people are currently price gouging, which is kind of annoying. But if so, check out Amazon. They've probably got a few different options you can get on there. And I'm going to show you kind of the three different options that are out there. Okay, so this first one is kind of your traditional band. Okay, it's got the handles attached to it. All right, this is great because everything is in one piece. You grab it, you go. You've got it all together, no issues. All right. The second is actually handles or bands that have these little attachments, these little latches, okay? And then the handles come separate, like so. So you can attach one, two, or if you have more, you can attach multiple, right? That's great for being able to adjust weights and make exercises more challenging, which I will also talk about in just a minute, a few ways to make that happen. And then finally, you got these infinity bands. They don't have handles, so they're going to be less versatile in that regard, but you can still get a ton of quality work in with these, and some places they may be called pull-up assistance bands. All right, so let's talk about ways to make these exercises harder. All right, with a band, anytime the further out that band is getting stretched, the harder the movement is going to be. So if you're standing on a band, like so, having your feet closer together is going to make it easier than your feet further apart. Okay, and the further you are from that linch point, from that kind of point of tension where you're standing or you have it trapped, the harder it's going to be. So if you have it attached to a door handle or some sort of something up in the air, like I have a pole here in my basement, not that kind, then the further away you stand from that point that it's latched onto, lynched onto, the harder the exercise is going to be. You can also double up on bands. So if you've got two of these handle bands, it may be a little bit difficult, especially if you have smaller hands, but grab both of them, line them up, and then go through. And then if you have an infinity band, you may have to double it up like so, or when you step on it, get a little creative and kind of loop it over your feet so that when you're pulling, it has a further distance to go. The further you are away from that starting point, from where it's kind of locked down and latched in, the harder it's going to be. So keep that in mind as you go through this. Other ways to make these exercises harder is to go quick on the way up, hold at the top where you're going to have the most tension, and then slowly on the way down. And I'll demonstrate that in a few exercises that we're going to do coming right up. All right, so for this first group of exercises, we're going to do 4 exercises back to back to back to back. We're going to try and keep our heart rate up, really keep the blood flowing. This is going to be an upper body circuit. And the idea is we're going to pre-exhaust those muscles. So we're going to start with an isolated movement and then move into a compound movement. Then we're going to flip to the opposite side of the body, do the same thing, and keep that going throughout. Okay, so I've got a pole right here that I'm going to wrap this around, but a lot of these sets will come with a door jamb. So basically it locks onto there. It's got a little foam ball. You set that through the door, you close the door, and then it locks in place. If it doesn't come with that and you don't have anything to attach to like a pole, what you can do is wrap this around a door handle, the inside, okay, say you've got a closet or a pantry, wrap this around the inside door handle and then close the door and then go through your exercises. Just make sure that the door is closed entirely, kind of latched shut, because the last thing you want is that door to fly open, the band to smack you, anything of that nature. Okay, so what I like to do is grab both handles, make sure it's measured up, and then grab that midpoint, okay, right where they hang even. From there, take it around, latch it up, grab handles again, give it a little shake so that you know they're even. Okay, we're going to start facing the other side, and we're going to do flies. So we're going to keep our arms slightly bent, and we're just going to swing them out in front of us like we've got big wings, and we're trying to flap them and fly away. All right? We're going to do 25 flies. Then we're going to take a big step forward, and we're going to do 25 presses. Okay? The elbow bends a lot more and straightens, so we're actually getting that elbow joint in rather than just the shoulder joint. That'll be 25 as well. Everything is 25 on this to really make use of the bands, and especially if you have lighter ones. Okay? Then we're going to go into a reverse fly. So it's just like that first movement, but in reverse. We faced our band, and then we just pull apart and back. Pull apart and back. Okay, trying to squeeze our shoulder blades together, make sure we're not lifting those shoulders up, and then we're going to take a big step back just like before, and we're just going to row, pulling down and back, using those muscles all around the scapula, the lats, traps. Your next group exercise is going to be focusing on the lower body. All right, we're going to do a lateral lunge, we're going to do a regular lunge, and then we're going to do squats. For both the lateral lunge and the lunge itself, we're going to place the band under one foot for both, and it's going to be the foot that's actually doing the work, the knee and hip that's bending the most. And for the squats, we're going to put it under both feet to give us more of a challenge. Now, if you need extra weight, it's probably a good time to grab a heavier band or a second band, double them up. Legs are typically stronger than an upper body. Okay, so for the lateral lunge, we're going to load up right into the front of our torso. We're going to go nice and wide with our feet, and then we're going to lunge down and back up. All right, we're going to do 15 here. We'll switch over to the other side, do 15 there. All right, then we're going to go into our traditional lunge, same loading pattern, okay? So the front foot, is going to have the band underneath it. We load up into this kind of curled position, kind of front rack position. We lunge down and back up. Lunge down and back up. Okay, if you need a little extra tension on something like that, what you can do is wrap it under the foot a second time, all right? That's going to add a good deal of tension. So start with that easier version first, and then move into the more difficult version. All right. Now we're going to finish out with squats. Okay. Find your squat stance. Try to have the bands relatively even. Load into that front rack position. Squat down and back up. Squat down and back up. Okay. We're going to do 15 there as well. So it's 15 on the right on the lunges, or 15 on both sides on both the lateral lunge and the traditional lunge, and then 15 squats total. All right, our next combo of exercise is going to be focusing on the shoulders. We're going to get all of those shoulders, 360 degrees, not really, but every head of the shoulders, front, lateral, and rear. Okay, so we're going to do 4 exercises back to back to back. We're going to do a front raise, we're going to do a lateral raise, we're going to do a band pull apart, and then an overhead press. Okay, you're going to do 15 of each exercise. You're going to get a good, great, awesome burn in your shoulders and really feel those shoulder muscles working when you finish with this. Okay? If you want it easier, only step on the band with one foot. If you want it harder, step on the band with both. Okay? So we're going to start by turning our palms down so that our fists are facing out. And then from there, all we're going to do is brace our core. We're going to raise up out in front and then lower back down under control. We're going just to the shoulders and maybe just below. We don't want to go above the shoulders. The band starts to get very difficult, and typically people start to move at their spine rather than at the shoulders themselves. Then we're going to pull out in that lateral raise. Okay, don't think so much up with these as you are out. The bands, the hands, arms will move up as a result of pulling apart, but thinking pulling apart is going to get those lateral delts working to a much greater extent. Then we step off the band. Closer you move your hands, the harder this is going to be. The further away, the easier it's going to be. You're going to turn it so that your thumbs face each other, wrap those thumbs, and then all you want to do is pull it apart into the chest and then back. Pull it apart into the chest, right around the clavicle, and then back. All right? And then finally, and you're probably going to only be able to stand on this with one foot because you need a little extra length because we're going overhead. All right, so we're gonna load up. I like to go into a split stance here. If you stand like this, feel a little off balance. So go into that split stance, most of your weight on the front leg, and then press straight up and back down, okay? Each one of those is gonna be 15 reps. All right, we're back at your pole, your door, whatever it is that you're locking this into. This next group of exercises is going to be an arm circuit, all right? So we're gonna hit those biceps and triceps, and we got 4 exercises, 2 for each. We're gonna do triceps first, and then follow that up with biceps, okay? So you're gonna wanna set this up at a high point, or sorry, a midpoint to start. All right, right around waist level, maybe just a little bit higher. And then we're gonna grab, we're not actually gonna grab the handles, we're gonna grab the band itself. We're gonna stand back, lock those upper arms tight into our sides like so. Don't let those elbows flare out. Pull them slightly back, so you want a lot of upper back tension as you do this. And then all you're gonna do is squeeze and extend at the elbow. Okay, notice my upper arm is not moving at all, and that's the idea is, we just want to work around the elbow and make sure we're hitting the triceps. Okay, from that similar point, we're going to flip around and we're going to get the hands up above the shoulders, the upper arms up above the shoulders. And again, we're locking that upper back in place, squeezing some tension through that upper back, the lats, locking those elbows so they're pointed straight forward and then extending straight out, working entirely at the elbow and not the shoulders. The shoulders should not rise or lower. They should be locked in. You're gonna do 15 reps of both, and then you're gonna go into your bicep sets. Now for your bicep sets, you're gonna actually have to change the point, at the height at which you've got this band set up, but that's okay, it's gonna be quick. Okay, we're gonna start high for the first set, doing some face curls. Okay, so we want to keep those upper arms nice and high, point them straight forward, maybe a little internal rotation so they're right. So our hands are pointed at that point where the band is locked in, like so. Do 15, and then move that pivot point nice and low, like so. Turn around, step forward, allow those arms to drag behind you just slightly, and then curl up. Okay, you're gonna do 15 reps there, not allowing the upper arms, the shoulders to move, everything working around the elbow. For your last combo of exercises, you're probably gonna wanna grab your heaviest band or even double or triple up on bands if possible. We're gonna do a single leg bridge, 15 per leg, followed by a 2-leg glute bridge, 25. Okay, so you're gonna do 15 on the left, 15 on the right, and then finish out with 25 on both. What you're gonna do is take your band and loop it over your foot, okay, like the stirrups. And then you're gonna place it into your hips. No, we're not gonna do that because that doesn't do anything. Okay, so what you're gonna do is choke up on your band so that you've got a good amount of band hanging on the outside of your hands, okay? We're gonna take our hands, plant them into the ground down next to us, kind of locking our upper arms and hands into the ground, and then we're gonna press our heels down and drive up. Press our heels down and drive up, okay? We're gonna go single leg first, all right? So same idea. We just pick one leg up, drive down with the other, keep our hands locked on the ground, core tight, 15, switch to the side, other side, 15, and then finish out with 25 on both sides, all right? Your arms are gonna wanna lift up. You've really gotta think about driving them into the ground, almost like you're doing a lat pull down and locking those arms tight into your sides. All right, that's the last set. That'll get your legs burned out, make it very difficult. As a bonus, we're gonna do a little bit of core using your bands. Okay, we're gonna head back to that pinch point, kind of that locking area. All right, make sure it's nice and even, and then we're gonna bring it to about belly button or waist height. Double up on both handles, and then step out so you have tension, okay? The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna press out and we're gonna hold there, and we're just gonna squat shuffle one direction and then back in. Squat shuffle and then back in. Then we'll flip and do the other side. The idea is to keep your hands in line with your belly button the entire time. We don't want them swinging all over the place. And to maintain that position, we've got to lock our core in. Okay, exercise number 2, we're going to step out a little bit so we've got a decent amount of tension on the band, and we're going to go into Pallof presses. So we press out, we raise up, we go back down and in. Out, up, down, and in. All right. If you've got a door, this is actually going to work a lot better because you'll notice mine likes to slide up, which reduces a little bit of the challenge here. I could probably cross these over or wrap it around and lock it in, but for demonstration purposes, this is just fine. So a door is actually better in this regard. And then finally, from the same position, we're going to do some rotation. So straight arm, rotate. Straight arm, rotate. Get the hips going, get the core going, everything working in unison. Make sure you're squeezing your core as you're rotating your shoulders, rotating your hips, okay? It transfers the force from the lower body to the upper body. Now for each one of these exercises, you're going to do 20 seconds per side, switching sides once you hit that 20-second mark, and then going immediately into the next exercise. So you'll do 20-second walkouts, switch sides, 20-second walkouts, then you do 20-second presses out and up, the switch sides, 20-second presses out and up, and then you'll do 20-second rotations on both sides for 20 seconds each.